Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Wowza webinar. My name is Justin Miller. I'm your moderator for today, and what we are going to be talking about is why an all-inclusive video platform is the only choice. Now, with me today is Robert Bacant. He is the Director of Product Management. Rob, how you doing?
Good. Nice to see you, Justin, and welcome everyone from around the world to talk with us about Wowza Video.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate having you here to talk a little bit more about all the functionality in Wowza Video. With us is also Katie Holub. Katie, she is the product owner. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Justin.
Glad to have you. Glad to hear it. And we also have Nick Tart. Nick is our Senior Product Manager. Nick, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Justin. Yeah, I'm excited to show everyone what product has been building with our very talented engineering team. And yeah, it should be a good day.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, before we get started, I just want to mention to everyone that we do answer questions. We don't always answer them as they come in, but we do take time out in between sections to talk about, or rather answer any issues that you may have. So if you do have questions, there is a questions window. Please type it into there. Now, we also have an attendee chat. You're welcome to type into the attendee chat, say hi to each other, talk about, issues separately. But if you do have something specific that you want to ask us and that you want to hear, go ahead and type it into the question window, the Q&A window. If you'd like to right now, just to make sure it's working properly for you, go ahead and let us know where you're from there. That way we know it's working. Okay, with all of that being said, I'd like to move it back to Robert where he can tell you about what the agenda is for today.
Great. Thanks, Justin. So we're going to be covering a few topics all about Wowza Video, the new streaming platform that we just released about 2 months ago. Overall, we had a vision for what our vision is for Wowza Streaming Video is to make this all-inclusive platform. This is largely based on our customer feedback, but what we've added is fundamentally features for being able to do CMS and VOD and playback that are new, frankly, for Wowza, and additions to what we had previously for Wowza Streaming Cloud. We based this very much on our customer feedback. So we listened. We'll talk a little bit about the capabilities that customers have asked for and how we arrived at that vision. But the bulk of this webinar is going to be a demo driven by both Katie and Nick, showing our interface, showing how it works, showing the new functionality, and just showing you basically how easy it is to do things in Wowza Video. We've also made an improvement in pricing, and we've actually gotten some really good feedback on both the product and the pricing. The pricing, the model that we have done has radically changed the way that you purchase Wowza Video. So for those of you who have any experience purchasing other products, I think that you'll find that to be a welcome change in terms of the way that we are making Wowza Video easy to consume. And then finally, for those of you that are existing Wowza Streaming Cloud customers, we've made it really easy for you to move to Wowza Video, and for that matter, if you're coming from another platform, also provided capabilities for being able to move from those. So let me start with that. Our design philosophy is all about making the product easy for you to use, easy for you to understand, easy for you to integrate, being heavily API driven. One example, in fact, is this platform that you're using right now from On24 is actually built on Wowza. So you're using all of the Wowza video technology in order to be able to view this webinar, and Wowza is the video distribution service powering this platform. Easy to buy, as I mentioned earlier, we've made changes to our pricing structure to make it so that you can understand what you're going to be paying for and what the different knobs and dials that you can turn are in order to control your costs. And then finally, easy to upgrade. We want to make it so that if you're an existing customer, you can get on Wowza Video without really having to do very much work at all. So in terms of easy to use, when you see this UI, you'll notice that it's using standard use patterns. Material design has kind of become the standard, where you've got the navigation on the left and different panels that you can choose from an administration standpoint. You will see that that is what we've adopted. It's easy to understand. We did reskin the interface and make it look quite a bit different in order to make it look like material design. But we wanted to balance the capabilities that we had previously so that when people do upgrade, they feel like they're still in a familiar environment. So Wowza Cloud customers should not see anything that is unfamiliar. The terminology has stayed the same, the general flow has stayed the same, but we've made lots of improvements, hopefully, in order to make the navigation easier. Easy to integrate. This is all API driven. Again, this application being driven by the API, the webinar application that you're seeing right now. And the API that we have is for Wowza Video is a superset of Wowza Streaming Cloud. So any applications that you're running currently will move seamlessly directly over to Wowza Video. And in fact, if any of you have already API-driven applications, you would never have noticed that we upgraded to Wowza Video. Those things would have continued to operate the way they always have. Easy to buy. I like to say no algebra required. Previously, it took a lot of forecasting and averages and figuring out how you were going to be streaming based on your bit rates and things like that. We'll talk more about that later, but trying to make it really easy, and then easy to upgrade with compatible with all the legacy streaming configs. They moved across, nothing that you need to change, and you can move to Wowza Video from Wowza Streaming Cloud without having to do any real upgrading. What this is based on, and the whole vision was really based on what our customers have been telling us. So we listen to the feedback. We get it through a lot of different sources. If you've got it and you want to type it into this chat, that's one of those places. Email us. We get information from support. We get information from our developer community. But fundamentally, we listen to your feedback, and that's how we arrived at that vision. Now, what I'm trying to show here is that effectively, reliability, scalability, security, and API accessibility are not things that we ever compromise on. Those are our absolute bedrock foundation for everything that we develop. So those are at the core of every part of our solution. Our customers tell that. We are constantly improving that. And we aim to be the most reliable, the most scalable, highly secure, and certainly API driven for you to be able to do anything that you need to when you're developing a video solution. On top of that, our customers ask us a lot about making our solution more powerful. We want it to stay familiar, being integrated with other solutions such as DRM, standards-based, so you can use RTMP, you can use RTSP, you can use WebRTC. We have broad standards that we utilize throughout the application. Easy to use, global, so that you can distribute video anywhere in the world. Flexible, so that you've got those capabilities of doing a variety of different formats, distribution to other platforms such as YouTube Live. Ultra low latency, some of you may be familiar with our new real-time streaming platform that's been out a while now for being able to do sub-second video distribution, and then compatible, so in terms of working with other vendors, other protocols, trying to just make sure that Wowza sits at the center of the ecosystem that you already have. So from that, and with what our customers actually told us, there are three primary things that emerged as being things that we can improve on, and that's what Wowza Video is addressing. So primarily, this is about, as the title of the webinar talks about, an all-inclusive streaming end-to-end video platform. So what we've added are the capabilities that make it possible for you to not have to bring in other products from other vendors in order to take advantage of some of those other capabilities. So as you'll see, we primarily added those capabilities in order to bolster what Wowza Video does and make it more complete. One of those things we've added is a very intuitive UI. That is something that actually all customers get, Wowza Video or Wowza Streaming Cloud. We have upgraded the UI. And then data-driven. We've added, and we heard a lot from our customers that they're looking for the ability to analyze their streams, understand what's happening, both in real time and after the fact, in order to be able to determine how they can distribute these events better, what people are viewing, what they need to do, and be able to tune it and make the changes necessary to be able to have a better streaming event, both during the event and then after. So ultimately, here are the things that are new. We added the all-new user interface that I've touched on a few times. It's designed to be simple and intuitive, but as I've mentioned, one of our primary design goals was to make sure that it was also familiar for those existing cloud customers. That, obviously is an ease of use addition that we had. The Wowza Video Player. This is all new, and we have a new video player that has a best-in-class viewer experience. It has extensive customizability and API control. There are lots of things now, if you're adding a player to your web page, that you can do in order to control this player that you couldn't before. So, for instance, if you did want to add analytics, we'll touch on this a little bit more, but we have JavaScript callbacks that are available to you to be able to understand the user's experience, not just the distribution to the rest of the pipeline. There are lots of additions that can be done with this player, so I would encourage you to take advantage of that. I will mention that our hosted page, if you're using that rather than embedding a player in your own website, that we are using this player ourselves for all of those hosted pages. These aren't things, though, that migrated. If you have an old page that you created on our hosted page, it's still using the previous player. Those weren't things that we automatically migrated. We didn't want to change things out from under you. That said, if you wanted to create a new hosted page, it obviously would take advantage of this new player. Wowza Asset Management. This is this is a major step forward, and one of the things that customers asked us for a lot. When you're streaming a live video, this allows you to record that video, push it into an asset management system, manipulate that asset, download it as an MP4, restream it, organize it, add tags to it, organize a library. Katie will be showing you that, some really great features here and something that a lot of our customers have been asking for. And then finally, Nick will be talking about Wowza Video Analytics. Video Analytics gives you all of that insight into your streams so that you can better understand where it's being distributed, who's watching it, what renditions, where they're watching from. All that information now is available to you. And frankly, we've made it also so that you can easily download that information and process it further in something like Excel. So if you've got other information, other insights that you want to dig for, we've made that information available to you as well. So as I mentioned, you've probably seen this picture or a picture similar to this in any previous webinar that you've attended from Wowza. At the left, we've got our content coming from your camera and your encoder, and at the right, we've got our viewers watching it. What we've done in the center with Wowza Video is add those three things that have little gray backgrounds to them. So what you can see is now we have that full solution for the workflow analytics that I mentioned before, the content management system for being able to deal with content that isn't live. You know, Wowza's history is all about doing live video. That content management system makes it possible for you to take live content and turn it into managed content that you can use to restream or have customers be able to watch via VOD, or for that matter, if you have an existing library, it can import that content as well. And then finally, the robust player, in order to be able to import that information into your application, into Excel, or just being able to view, manage, manipulate it inside of the UI so that you can understand how your streams are performing. And then wrapping all of this, although it's not this diagram, is the new user experience that we've added. That is a major upgrade for Wowza Video. So with that, let me turn it over to Katie, who will be talking to and giving you a demo of the new Wowzy Ui. Katie.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. I couldn't be more excited to talk through our new video UI and really kind of showcase to everyone the ease of use and really why Wowza Video is the solution that you can scale with, no matter your level of experience with streaming, or really honestly, if you could start from a novice level or you could be an expert, and the new user interface truly does make the experience that much better. So some of the benefits of our new UI, completely redesigned for ease of use. You will notice we've kind of touched on it prior, but we have the left-hand navigation. So everything that you need in terms of using Wowza Video will be located over on the left-hand side of the screen. We streamlined it, made faster workflows, easier navigation for you, easier things to find, all of that. And in terms of making Wowza Video accessible to those of all levels of streaming, we've implemented WalkMe, which is integrated help that you can access inside of specific portions of the platform. This truly does make it easier so you can understand what you're seeing or how to do things within the platform. So we truly are making this the solution that you can use across the board. And of course, as Robert had mentioned, this is new and familiar. So our cloud customers will notice that all of your workflows are still working as they were prior. We've simply just kind of made them more prettier and easier to use. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the demo. And the first thing that you're going to notice is we're going to jump straight into the add live stream portion of the UI. From here, this workflow will seem very, very similar to all of our previous cloud customers or current cloud customers. So what we will do is we're going to go ahead and jump in. This is the live stream wizard. This is where you can customize your player and all things for your live stream. So we're just going to call this video webinar. The next thing that we want to touch on here is choosing the location closest to you. This is important in terms of the speed and latency that your viewers will see during your live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and choose California because that's closest to my location here in Colorado. The next thing that we're going to do, again, this is all going to look very familiar. We're going to go ahead and choose our camera or encoder that we want to select and stream through. So I'm going to go ahead and select other RTMP. Billing mode is going to stay as pay as you go. We're going to use the adaptive bit rate. We are also going to do push stream and push to Wowza Video. We have the option here to prioritize latency to create an HLS stream in the lowest latency possible. I'm going to go ahead and leave that off. We're going to leave aspect ratio as it is. The new feature that you will see here is we're going to go ahead and select this save to asset management. What this is going to do is once we conclude the live stream, it is then going to take that recording and put it into our asset management system that you can use to then restream or use on demand. We are not going to include any closed captions in this stream, but you do have the option to select which captions you would like. In terms of this demo, we're going to go ahead and leave off source security. So we're going to go ahead and say disable authentication on the video source. And now we're going to get into the playback settings. So here, what you'll notice is there is one player selected here. So this is our brand new Wowza video player. So this will be the only option that you have by partnering with Wowza Video. We are going to go ahead and leave the width of the player at fixed width. You have the option to select a countdown as well in terms on your player. You can also do a poster image, and you can also select a logo that you wish to have on the playback player page. You can select the position of that, and you can also choose the file. In terms of this demo, we're going to go ahead and leave that as is. The next is we're going to go to the hosted page. So Wowza can host a web page for you that will play your video. So this is again, this is functionality that was included prior with Wowza Cloud customers. We're going to go ahead and say yes in terms of this. And then the page title, so we can go ahead and just do... You could also display a logo on the hosted page as well. You can include your description here. You can choose to display sharing icons on the hosted page if you would so like to. I'm going to go ahead and unselect that. Then what you do is then you get to your review settings. So this is important just to go through and make sure that everything is set up as you would like. If something is missing or you would like to change a setting somewhere, we offer the back button so you can go back and edit as needed. And then what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and hit finish. This will then bring you to your live stream page. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and hit the start live stream. And one thing to keep in mind is this may take a few moments as we're currently going in the back end and we're starting up a transcoder and we're getting everything ready to then, as we bring in our live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wait a few moments. I'm going to go ahead and open up. Well, maybe not. All right, so now that this is up and running and our live stream is started, what we're going to do is we're actually going to come down here and we're going to take this primary server link first. I am currently going to be using the software OBS in order to stream. So I'm going to come into OBS. I am going to go into settings. I'm going to go into stream, and then I'm going to input the link that we've copied. Then I'm also going to come down and take the stream name, and I'm going to come back into OBS, and I'm going to paste it in here. One thing you will notice is if you selected to have authentication with your streaming software, the authentication credentials would be input here. Since I bypassed that, we do not have any credentials to put in. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and then I'm going to hit Start Streaming. And in just within a few seconds, we're going to start seeing the preview show up here. As you can see, that's shown up here. What we can then do is we can then go and we can take our player link or our hosted page, and we can input that, and it's going to bring you to the new player page. So you would simply just click play. That would then start the player, and you would start to see your live stream through there. Now that that's started, I'm going to go ahead and stop this live stream now. While that's processing, let's kind of jump back to our presentation and go through. So we covered the Wowza Video UI. The next thing I want to cover with everyone is the new video player. There's a lot of functionality that we've included with our new video player. It's compatible with smart TVs and set-top boxes. With this, we have a plethora of SDKs that are available for everyone to use in order to access and make their content more accessible to their audiences. This is customizable. There is an extensive JavaScript API for control. You are more than welcome to edit the JavaScript to make this player and use it how you see fit. We have analytics now, as Robert had mentioned. Those analytics can be pushed out and be used in a software such as Google Analytics. We have heard from our customers that they wish to have those analytics inside of Wowza Video, and we are currently working in the future to make those analytics available all within one platform to make this, again, the system that you can truly scale with. Within the live stream wizard, this is deployable on customer web pages and used on the hosted page, all through that embed code that we offer. And then the next thing that we're going to talk about, we'll cover this, and then we're going to go take a look at the video asset management. So with this, there's instant live to CMS for VOD and restreaming. So once you've streamed a live asset, you can then go back into your asset management and see that and play it back as many times as you need. You can also import existing content. If you have MP4s, you can then import those and store them inside of your asset management to also use for VOD and restreaming. Auto encoding to adaptive bitrate HLS, and then we can also manage and organize with tags and metadata. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again here. And we will jump back over. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over to Manage Assets. And what you're going to see here is there's a video that was posted for the Wowza video webinar. So our asset is already located inside of Asset Management. If we click into that, you'll then get several different options. So you can see up at the top, we allow restream the asset. You can edit your asset. You can see the duration of the asset itself, the file storage size, the available renditions that we make available. So anybody, any user will have the capability of viewing on any device these that they're using. We have the total view time, unique viewers, average view time, and the status is published. You can also download an MP4, so you could take this and use this as you see fit. And with that, I'm actually going to pass over to Nick, who is going to cover. Yes.
Can I add one thing? Can you share that again real quick?
Yeah.
So the asset management capability, another couple of things worth noting. There's an MP4 that we are creating from the video initially, but in order to make this restreamable via HLS so that customers on any device, as Katie mentioned, can see it, we're creating all those different renditions. So the storage is a combination of both the MP4 asset and all of the HLS. So it does take, but if you're taking and you're uploading a new asset, we're going to encode all of that video from just being an MP4, which is the typical upload choice, to also being an HLS asset. The one other thing worth noting is that when you hit the edit asset, if you'll scroll down just a tiny little bit, Katie, to see the lower part of the screen, now, all of this information down at the bottom in terms of title and description and tags are what we use in order to be able to customize it yourself. Obviously, the metadata at the top relative to the rendition and the resolutions and all that storage size information is automatically generated. The information down at the bottom for metadata is what you have the opportunity to add. You can obviously change the title, you can add a description, and you can add tags. This is how we manage the asset. So if you've got a large collection, and part of the API allows you to do this and assign this as well if you were doing an import from another system, is that you can take, and this is the way that you apply organization to it. So if you later have 1,000 assets and you're looking for all the ones that are webinars, you can search the title for webinars. Or if it was in an educational institution and you're looking for all the math videos rather than all of the foreign language videos, you've got those all categorized based on the tags and are able to pull that out. So that's really the power that we can allow you to have a very large library to be able to, organize it, publish it, control what viewers are actually able to pull down by being able to manipulate this either in the UI as is shown here or via the API as well. Both scenarios are possible, and most customers with a large library have been doing this via API, but certainly you can do this all via the UI as well. I just wanted to mention those extra things about the title and assets and tags and the other metadata that you can add.
Thank you so much. And now I will pass over to Nick to talk through the analytics side.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so one of the things that Robert has mentioned is an end-to-end solution, full platform, along with the new asset management and the new Wowza video player. We have Wowza Video Analytics. So product and engineering have been busy the last several months getting this out. So the real benefit of analytics is that you get performance insight not only into your stream health, but also into your viewership, into quantities, locations. You're also going to get live data, which is something that cloud customers could not have before. And then you're going to be able to see historic. So you'll see trends, past stream stats, all of that can be aggregated, disaggregated. We've given a lot of flexibility in the Wowza Video Analytics platform. And the last part I'll touch on before we get into a quick demo is how easy it is to export all of this data into a CSV, so you can pull it into a business intelligence tool or Excel, however you want to use and filter through that data. Now you can do that with Wowza Video. So let me get into the demo. All right, so here you will see the live stream page that you have always seen. As Katie mentioned, it's a full revamp of the UI. So this is just a live stream page. One of the pages that we completely redesigned and reskinned was this analytics page for the live stream. So this is available to all video and cloud customers currently, because this is all data that you've had historically. So you can see viewers, a summary, viewers by country, viewers per rendition, and then all of the data you're used to seeing around bandwidth, egress, and stream processing time. So the one big difference between cloud and video is now we have this analytics platform where you can not only see all of the viewer data from that one specific screen or one stream, you can filter and view all live streams and VOD assets. All right. Over the last 3 days, and all right, let me go here. Okay, so here you can see all live streams and VOD assets are the last 3 days to 7 days to 30 days, all the way back up, and it's pulling a lot of data here. And you can see unique viewers, statistics, bandwidth, and countries. So again, historically, you could only see data around one stream at a time. Now you can see it for all live streams, VOD assets. You can filter it and get all of that data around your viewership. The next piece is here you see a restreamed asset. So this is actually an asset that is sitting in our asset management tool. You have this stream. This is the current view for cloud and video customers on this asset. Here you can only see 22 unique viewers, but now we have this new live analytics page. So you get not only just one data point saying how many unique viewers you have, you get minute-by-minute updates. So when you're streaming an event or anything that you want to know, are people watching it at this moment, you can have all of that information here. So the last piece I want to touch on is, again, you can export all of this data. Any data that you see is exportable into a CSV. And all data points are also available through the API. So we actually use our own API to generate the UI for Wowza Video. And that is the demo. Robert, did you want to touch on anything else?
No, I think that's great. Thanks, Nick.
All right.
Thanks, Nick. I'm going to take a break here for some Q&A, since we do have quite a number of questions that have come in, and I'm sure people would definitely like them to be answered. For those people who are watching, please, once again, ask your questions in the Q&A window. They don't always appear for you, only when we respond. However, like I said, we will answer them directly right now. Please don't put them in Attendee Chat, but in the Q&A window. So one of the first questions that was asked earlier was, can Wowza stream 4K?
And the answer is yes, absolutely. 4K is one of those things that we differentiate for some of our competitors on in terms of being able to handle 4K streams. When Katie went through her demo, as you were choosing the region, it shows 4K as a choice for that region. I think we have eliminated all, or not eliminated, I think we now have 4K support everywhere around the world. If the region that you choose shows a little 4K next to it, it's certainly capable of that. The one thing I will note, I'm going to talk about pricing here in a couple minutes. 4K is premium. We've really simplified pricing to make it really easy. 4K is not incredibly common, but 4K does have a slightly different cost structure than the 1080 and below does. So just be aware that 4K premium service, there's obviously a lot more data flowing both in and out, and so it does carry a premium in terms of its pricing.
All right. Now, another question we had relates to scheduling. They want to know, is scheduling components available for ad hoc meetings with flexible start times and no end times? And to be clear, the people who are asking, they work with the state legislature, and they're looking for alternatives with greater API access than what they currently have.
I'll be happy to take that, or if anybody else wants that. We do have a scheduler if on the UI, and I don't know if you all have a large enough screens to see it, but about a little below half on the screen, even that you're seeing with Wowza Analytics, is the ability to set up a schedule. And that can be recurring. You can choose to have a schedule for a one-time event, or you can have it be recurring. So you can set that up. If we have time at the end and I can get it pulled up on my side, I would be happy to go in and show you a demo of actually setting up a schedule. But you effectively choose the time and the date and the recurrence and things like that, not unlike what you would do for an Outlook meeting. The other option is to be able to do it via the API. So we can create those schedules via the API so that it will happen automatically. And the final option is if you want to just want to control it via API. We have some customers that the scheduler they take upon themselves because of the schedules that they need are a little bit various, and they just with a simple call to our API can have that stream start at that point. So yes, we definitely have scheduling. You create a schedule. That schedule is then tied to a specific transcoder or stream effectively, and that will start up at that given time. One other thing worth noting, if you've got one that's of a various length, what I would recommend is that you set it for the maximum duration that you would have, but you can also set up the stream so it will automatically shut down if video stops flowing to it. So what you do is if you have a meeting that could go as long as 4 hours, you'd set it for 4 hours. If it ends 2 hours in, have it start automatically at the time where you intend it to start. If it only goes for 2 hours, there's a setting you can choose that, in the advanced settings, that's the duration with no video before you shut it down. And then if you set that for 10 minutes, video stops flowing, the stream will shut itself down. So that's how I would address that.
All right. Another question that we have from Sandro is this a hosted solution? And if it is there also an option for self-hosting?
So we have two products in our product line. So yes, this is a hosted solution. This is a SaaS-based solution. So when you're connecting to this, you're connecting to our servers hosted in whatever region that you're choosing around the world. You start a stream. We start up that transcoder in the given region, and at that point, the stream flows through that. We do then automatically connect it to, say, a content delivery network. The content delivery network is how it ends up reaching, the hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of users, or even million users or viewers that are ultimately watching it. If you want to run it on your own premises because you have security requirements, our other major product is Wowza Streaming Engine, and Wowza Streaming Engine has capabilities for being able to put it in your data center. You run it, and instead of purchasing this service based upon the amount of usage that you have, you're purchasing a license for the software that you're going to be running in your own data center or in your own cloud environment. That said, it's not as inclusive. Have a lot more flexibility. Wowza Streaming Engine is what a lot of our broadcast customers use because they need the ability to just absolutely tune everything. And Wowza Streaming Engine, by the way, is the transcoder underneath of all of Wowza Video. So the answer is yes, with a little asterisk, because it's not identical in terms of the workflow. Wowza Engine, you can install yourself, you can stream yourself, but it would be up to you then in order to connect that to a CDN in particular, and also to be able to connect your encoder in. So yes, not exactly the same experience.
All right.
And if you have questions about that, please, that is probably the #1 question that our sales team gets asked. So if you have questions, talk to them. They totally understand and can help guide you in that one direction versus the other.
All right. I don't know if that pause earlier was to see if Nick or Katie wanted to answer one of these questions too. But the next question in here is white labeling supported? Anybody? Nick?
So yeah, white labeling as in not seeing any Wowza branding, definitely. So on the page you're looking at now, you can see the Wowza logo, but that is On24's decision. So if you have a stream and you want to pull it into your platform, definitely there's no Wowza branding necessary as a customer.
And I just want to add the white labeling. There are different sort of flavors of white labeling. If you want to, if you're talking about the playback experience, absolutely. The vast majority of our customers are there's no indication that it's Wowza video that's underneath the covers in terms of the viewer experience. If you're looking for being able to resell Wowza video effectively using us in your own streaming platform, we have customers that do that as well. But that doesn't allow you can't just take this UI that we just demoed and show that and make that available to your customers and resell it. That is your administration console, and that is Wowza branded. That said, the API makes it possible. We built not surprisingly, we built our whole orchestration and administration interface on top of our own API. So if you're a customer of ours, we have several customers that have built concert streaming solutions for specifically streaming concerts that have lots of other capabilities, and they've embedded all of our technology on it. They're driving it via API, and the experience is something that they built. So it all depends what level of white labeling that you want.
Yeah, and we also, with the player, we have the functionality to add logos into that as well. So you're welcome to take that, put that on your own hosted page, and include your logo within the player itself.
All right. A question that's kind of all over the place here is about our editor. How robust is the editing capabilities? And I'm asking a little more detail on that, in which some of the answers I'm getting, or people were asking in relation to that editor, is it possible to add chapters in the video, well, that's one of the questions. Can you add time markers to the video? Could you trim the front or back of the video? And I think all of this is really relating to the VOD asset that gets generated after the fact. So adding chapters to that VOD asset, trimming the beginning and the end, et cetera.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we are currently looking at, in its current state today, you have the capability to download the MP4 from Asset Management. You could then trim the front and back of the video, and then you could actually take that and re-upload it back into the CMS. We are currently looking at, we are considering building that into the actual platform itself. So currently the workflow would be to download the MP4, trim as you need, and then re-upload back into the CMS.
Awesome. Another question we have related specifically to the live stream itself is live video capable of multiple audio tracks?
I've gotten asked this a couple times, and contact us if you could. Contact me offline. I would like to explore that more. We have the ability to deal with multiple audio tracks, but I'm not certain as to what degree. And oftentimes I assume maybe that's for different languages. I'm going to need to look into that and take that offline.
Okay. Another question, and by the way, for those if you want to take it offline, definitely use that contact us page. You can say it's specific to Robert, but that contact us under resources is probably a good way to contact. That being said, many people would like to see the front end for viewers. I think, Katie, you showed how to set it up and how to create the live stream, but we do have that front end page that we have available if people don't just want to embed it. And some people would like to see what the front end looks like.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'll get that pulled up.
Okay. While you're doing that, I suppose we can answer another question. I'm not sure here. Somebody's asking, can Wowza stream to like a Roku Direct or through Insta TV platforms?
So that player coverage for set-top boxes, yes, you can. There are a couple things to be aware of. If you're just, some of those devices have built into them an HLS player. So if you're going in and you're using a website effectively and it's got an HLS player built into it, you can view that. On the other hand, if you're looking to actually have an app, I mean, you can add those apps to just about any smart TV or set-top box. We have the player technology that we use can be embedded inside of that app. So the short answer is yes, but if you want the full experience of an app like, let's say Netflix has or Hulu has or something like that, that has to be built specific to that platform, and then we can embed the player that we have inside of that. Now, the technology that we have, you're licensed to be able to do that. You have that capability. You can build a Roku app, but if you want it to be your app, there's more to it than just embedding the video.
And Justin, I can jump in and show that page now.
Yep, okay, go right ahead, please.
All right, so here we can see this is what the page would look like if you come back to restream the asset or if you are going to be doing the live stream as well. So it'll take them to a page. Again, this could all be customized with the live stream wizard. Here it just says that it's a restreamed asset, but you would simply just hit play and go from there. You also have the capabilities of making this responsive. So regardless of the device that the user is viewing on, it would then be responsive to that particular page. Or you can make it a fixed width as well. So this is what the page would look like as you're restreaming it. This is also what it would look like during the live stream as well.
And I want to emphasize that this is the viewer experience when you're looking at the playback for either a live stream or for an asset. But if what you're talking about is, let's say that that you as a customer have 100 assets, and you want to give a user a YouTube-like experience that they've got all of these different videos that they can choose from. That's something that we've made our API very easy to be able to do that, but we're not giving you that experience for that playback. Ultimately, our customers have voiced to us very loud that that's an experience they want to control. So it's really easy to go into the API and say, give me all the thumbnails, and then you can, lay all those thumbnails down, and then you can say, here's, you want to play it back, here's the link to a player in order to build that. But that page is something that you've designed. We don't provide a playback. We don't provide a complete viewer experience for being able to do what is effectively, library manipulation.
Thank you.
Okay, we have quite a number of questions in here. I'm just gonna go to one or two more, and then I think we need to finish our presentation. And then certainly everyone, we can get back to this Q&A after the presentation is over, if you don't mind. One of the questions we had was, can our players support VTT closed captions? And someone else in relation to that also says, do we do live closed captions without a file being attached to the stream? So both closed caption questions.
So closed captioning is something that we support. Let me look up, I'm going to actually postpone the VTT answer for a second, and I'm going to look something up in our documentation. But the captioning is something that needs to come in from the encoder. So if you've got closed captioning, it needs to come in with the RTMP. I think, I'm trying to remember what 603 standard that we adhere to in order to be able to put those closed captions in. So the player fully supports any number of closed captions that you can have, and it can be selected in that player, and you can have a variety of different capabilities. On the other hand, in terms of pushing them in, it has to be embedded in the encoder. One of the items that we're investigating right now is the ability to take a stream, have that transcribed, using some ML system or some service that we'll take in order to build that. Now, that's unlikely, just totally as an aside, to work extremely well if you're using really our low latency service, just by virtue of the fact that there's not time in order to do it. But HLS, since you have typically 25 seconds worth of latency, there should be time for it to go out, us get that closed captioning and embed it back in there. But if you've got feedback on that, that's something that's under consideration right now. Not something that's available right now, but under consideration. And if you've got a specific use case, we'd really love to hear about that, so we make sure that what we're designing is appropriate for you.
All right. And that being said, and this might be a great segue, one person is asking, what is the cost of the basic starting setup?
we have a page that you should go visit. I don't want to quote it wrong, but if you go, I think it's wowza.com/pricing, but let me look here real quickly, and I can give you that URL. If you go to wowza.com, right in the center, there's pricing. And you click on that link and you'll get, and so we've got the options that are available to you immediately. 1 month of streaming is $149. Pay as you go, 1 month of streaming is ideal if you've got one event and you know that it's going to be seasonal and you're just going to have that event and it's going to be over. It's $149, and it comes with a fair amount of capacity in order to be able to handle that stream. So as much as 500 hours effectively of viewership that you could have with that. We also have a pay-as-you-go plan that's $25 per month. That you pay for the quantities that you consume. And so if you click through on that, you'll see what the rates are for each piece of distribution. And I'm going to be talking about pricing in a second. And then we've got an annual plan that comes with, again, a package of capability that's $130 per month, depending on, how much use you need. And then, of course, in all these cases, if you've got capabilities or you've got needs that are beyond what these packages deliver, we build custom packages when the size gets to be larger than this. And so please call in, talk to our salespeople, contact them. They are experts at building a package that suits you. So if you have a lot of viewers but not very many streams, they can balance the package for you in that regard. Or if the other way around, you've got tons of streams and very few viewers of each one, we can build a package for you that way as well. So custom packages are certainly an option, something that we do a lot of. Totally as an aside, that same pricing page also has information about Engine for the person that asked previously about having it on their own premises.
All right. So Robert, let's move forward in the presentation.
Yeah, well, that was a perfect segue in terms of talking about pricing. So one of the things that we've done to make this easy to buy is to simplify our pricing. And previously, where I mentioned about algebra, the way that you had to purchase from us and most vendors was by paying by the gigabyte. And so you'd pay for the number of hours of streaming, you'd pay for the number of gigabytes of egress, you'd pay for the number of gigabytes of distribution via the CDN, and the number of gigabytes of storage. And all of those gigabytes depended a great deal on you understanding your streaming very well. So on one hand, the big advantage of doing that adapted bitrate streaming is that different customers get the rendition that we want. The complexity, or that they need, the complexity of that is that the bit rate changes radically depending on what they're actually pulling down. So when customers come to us and say, well, I'm going to have a 1 hour stream for 100 customers, what's that going to cost? And our answer was, well, it depends on how those 100 customers behave as they come and go, as they move perhaps off of an LTE network onto 3G. And so we started applying averages, and you'd end up with this big formula that we'd figure out what that was going to cost. And so what we've done is we've tried to simplify it and make it so that if you have a sense of how many viewers you're going to have and how many hours you're going to stream, we can tell you how much that's going to cost. And so effectively, you'll pay for streaming hours, for viewing hours, and then for video storage. So as I move forward here in the slide deck, effectively this is eyes and hours. For every set of eyes that you have watching it, there's a small incremental fee. And then for an hour of streaming, just for having that streaming running, there's a fee for that as well. And so effectively, the streaming hour is the duration of the stream. If you've got a 1 hour event like this webcast is, you have 1 hour of streaming that you incurred. So if you know how much streaming you're going to do, multiply it by the per hour charge, and that's what it was going to end up costing. The viewer hour is the amount of time all your viewers spend watching the stream. And that's for every rendition up to and including 1080p. So if you know you're going to have a number of viewers, 100 viewers for your event, 1,000 viewers for your event, 1 million viewers for your event, multiply it by the viewing rate, and that's what the charge is going to be for viewership. You've got the base charge of a streaming hour that the event is live, and then a charge for each additional viewer that joins based upon the number of hours. And in both of those cases, note that this is not rounded up to the nearest hour. If you have two viewers that watch for half an hour, that's an hour. If you have 10 viewers that each watch for 5 minutes, that's 50 minutes. And so you're going to get, you pay effectively for 5/10 of an hour. I'm sorry, 5/6, 5/6. That's hard to say. 5/6 of an hour. So it's fractional down to what the segment duration is. So effectively, we've got 10 or 15 second granularity on what somebody watches. So that's the way the charge will be applied. And then ultimately, if you choose to put that in the CMS, that's the amount of space that it takes up. That is still gigabyte based. It depends on, if you upload a whole bunch of MP4s, the size of the MP4 is what's going to determine what that charge is. So a longer MP4, obviously much larger, shorter MP4, obviously much smaller in terms of the amount of gigabyte, and it's just a matter of that being monthly, how much storage was incurred. That's something you can see in our console, understand how much storage you're using. But the whole goal is to make it so that all you need to know is how many viewers, how long is the event or events, and that will determine what your charge is. So, the one thing I already mentioned about, I'll go back to this for a second. This is up to 1080p. 4K does carry a premium because of the much larger data. If you do the math, the X's and the Y's for those renditions, it's a whole lot more data, and that's not something that is included under this packaging system. And so ultimately, we also have made this easy to upgrade. So what I want everyone to be aware of, if you are a current Wowza Streaming Cloud customer, you get the UI. The UI is something that we wanted to make available to everybody. That's not something that we consider to be a premium feature that you're getting to take advantage of. So if you were a Wowza Streaming Cloud customer, you still are a Wowza Streaming Cloud customer, but you've been upgraded to the Wowza Video UI. Everything moved across. All your streams should behave as they always have before. You'll see them presented differently, but they all should look familiar, as Katie went through that demo and showing how everything worked. And all of your assets have been preserved as you move across. So should be no changes there. And if you were an API user not using the UI, because the new UI is a superset of the old one, you may have not even been aware that we did that upgrade. There is a new API. It's our version 1.9 that has all of these capabilities, and you have to use that if you want to be able to manipulate, say, the CMS or any of the new functionality for analytics. That's the only place where it lives. But if you're a Wowza Streaming Cloud customer, 1.9 is completely backwards compatible with everything that you did, well, completely, 99%. 1.9 is backwards compatible with what the previous Wowza Streaming Cloud API was, which was a version 1.8. If you want to take advantage as a Wowza Streaming Cloud customer of the Wowza Video Player, the content management system, or the analytics, because in part of the fact that we've changed what our pricing is and changed it from what used to be gigabyte-based to being eyes and hours-based, you do need to change plans. We're not going to just upgrade you and bill you the old way, so we need you to change plans. So ultimately, you can call our sales or customer success, and they can give you the best conversion of what you have. And if you've got, you just bought a year-long plan where you plan on streaming, obviously we credit you for the part you haven't used and then apply it to the new plan so that you're getting like-for-like functionality as you move between those two plans. You have to purchase that new plan, obviously, in units of eyes and hours. Everything is compatible. It moves across, and you just get the capability now of being able to manipulate, use the new viewer, manipulate things in the CMS, and see those analytics that you didn't have previously. And then all those new features are available immediately. It's kind of a little bit of a go forward. You can go in and edit the old streams. Say you wanted to be able to record those and have those saved in the CMS. That's not going to happen automatically. Go in, edit the stream, say you want it stored in the CMS, but all those features are there. From that point forward, if you create a new stream, it's going to use the new player. It's going to be available to be pushed into the CMS, and all of it's available to you as soon as you have upgrade. And then finally, if you're a new customer and this is your first introduction to Wowza Video, you can sign up for a free trial. We make that available to you for a month. You can go in, you have every capability, both via the API and the UI, to see this, to use it, to test it, to see how it performs for your use case. The only limitation is that the stream will only run for 15 minutes. You can do that repeatedly, but each stream's duration is limited to 15 minutes. And then at that point, when you make a purchase, that limitation is removed. And if you've done any API integrations or you've created any streams that you were that are configured exactly the way you want, obviously we're just removing that demo limitation, and then those streams are available to you to be able to manipulate in your live environment as well. Wowza Video, as Katie touched on, does make it easy for you to migrate your content libraries. So if you happen to have a library of MP4s that you want to be able to restream, and you're building an entire streaming solution that you're using inside of whatever application you're building, you can pull that content very easily into Wowza Streaming Video so that you can use that the same way you do your live streaming video. You can take existing content and be able to restream that. And you'll be streaming live and VOD content in no time. I like to say fun in 5 minutes. Katie showed you how easy it is to go through the UI and set up a new stream. Once you're familiar with it, I say fun in 5 minutes, but I literally can do it in 1 to set up a new stream when I'm not explaining it and I'm going through things. So once you're familiar with it, streaming is very easy. We've made it that way intentionally. We try to make it in addition to being ultra stable, worldwide, reliable, highly secure, very private, all of those capabilities I talked about in one of the earlier slides, all that's available to you, and you should be able to be streaming in no time to, frankly, a million people, if that's how large your viewership is.
All right.
So with that, probably a couple more questions. We're running into our last 5 minutes, but we probably have time for another 3 or 4 questions, maybe.
All right, absolutely. Let's go with some of the questions that came in. One question was, is it possible to show the concurrent viewers in the player?
Yeah, that's a good question. So one of the things with the analytics platform, the Wowza Video Analytics, is that all data points that you saw that we demoed are available in the API. So if you want to display concurrent viewers, total unique viewers, total viewing time, all of that can be displayed with additional work and integration into our REST API. As part of Wowza's brand promise, we are the solution you start with and the partner you scale with. We also have an extensive professional services team for any customers that want to integrate directly with API. So we have some tremendous talent on that team that can help do anything with that you would want to do to customize your player and analytics experience.
All right. And by the way, before I move forward, I just want to let everyone know, if we can't get to your question, you can certainly go and request a demo or use the Contact Us page under Resources to contact us to get your questions answered. But we do only have a few more minutes here. Robert, if you don't mind, maybe we can go over maybe 2 or 3 minutes just to try to see how many questions we can get through. One of the questions came in was asking, I do streaming of soccer embedded into my own OTT platform. If I embed into my server, is the output of the stream from Wowza protected to stop others from copying, using the embed code, or placing it onto a different server?
There are 2 things that you can do in order to protect your stream. Both of them provide you protection. You can use them separately or together. One of the things we do is called token authentication, and typically, you can vend effectively a token that prevents a user from being able to distribute just the URL and do a playback. That's kind of the most basic mechanism for being able to protect your content. And that's a feature. If you have questions, you want to look in our documentation thing called token authentication, and it just makes sure that customers can't just redistribute a URL and have it played back. You had to have vended them a token in order to be able to watch that. And that all happens in the background. That's not something that they type in or anything like that, but you've made it so you've authorized effectively the playback on their device. That's option number 1. The second option that we have available, and this is a little bit more work because of the amount of keys that need to be exchanged, is to protect it with digital rights management. So there are 3 different digital rights standards from Microsoft and Google and Apple that all have their own standards. It depends on the platform that you're doing. If it's primarily iPhone, obviously you have to use the Apple one. Other platforms use different DRM, and you can do all of them at the same time. But ultimately, that's encrypting all of the content and making it so that that person, again, has some piece of information to make it possible that they're the only ones that can view it. The token makes sure that no one can download it. But when it's being downloaded, I mean, hypothetically, someone with a man-in-the-middle attack, that content is traveling across the network unencrypted. If in addition to just protecting the ability of having that URL from a download perspective, you can also protect it with DRM, and that encrypts everything, so it's completely end-to-end protected. That does require you, though, to use, we've partnered with DRM services, and there is a fee that the DRM vendor has in order to be able to do all of the background information for DRM.
All right. And by the way, I see that Mac, our great support person, has gone through and answered most of your questions, everyone. Looks like they've all been answered. So Mac, I just really appreciate it. Great job. The last question here, which I don't know if you want to answer, but I can answer as well. Brad is asking, are there use cases or a website to see the best APIs that have been used? I'll let you guys answer it first, but I just want to mention, Brad, we're actually in 2 weeks having another webinar specifically about our API. We also have some new API functionality, or test functionality rather, to make it easier to implement into Postman, as well as a video series, a 6-part video series, which you can find in our help docs on how to use our API. But to answer your question on are there use cases or a website, I'm not really sure. Robert?
We have a whole documentation team that creates both use cases and white papers, and then obviously just the API documentation. And the place that you want to start, I don't know if I can type this into the chat, Justin. This is this new platform that we're using, wowza.com/docs/wowza-video-rest-API. Is there a way I can post that? Because for that matter, if you just go to wowza.com and click on developer, underneath that there is a instant link to the APIs. So go to wowza.com, choose developer, choose APIs, and you'll see that information, both the white papers and the API documentation. And I will note that the way that we structure our API, again, is to try to make that really easy. The example that Katie went through in terms of creating a new live stream, I tend to do any coding I do in Python. In Python, it's really, I'm going to say 10-ish lines of code in order to do what Katie did. And most of those lines are all the parameters about saying I want it to be in her case, California, and I want it to be this. So there's a whole bunch of parameters you send in, very short set of code in order to make the HTTP connection to REST, to start up the stream, and then get back effectively, okay, that started. So you can control this very easily, and then you also have the flexibility of going, and if you want to be able to tune it, obviously that's more lines, but it's really easy in order to do what we've shown via API.
All right, and also in the attendee chat, I'm also adding links that, so I've added that link that you said, I believe, api.docs.video.wowza.com. I'm also sending in the how you can trial the Wowza Video REST API using Postman and the video series. So all that should be available to you right now, and I hope it is helpful. All right, well, hey, I want to thank you all for joining us in this webinar. I hope it's been useful. Again, shout out to Mac. Mac, great job in getting through those questions. Robert, you as well. You answered definitely a lot of questions directly, and I'm sure people really appreciate that. Nick, thank you for joining us. Katie, you as well. I appreciate the demos that you were able to give everyone. And I hope you all have a great week. All right. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.